Thank you for taking a few moments to watch this presentation on Google Analytics segments and how to build and use them. In this session, we'll be focusing on building a basic segment to narrow Oregon.gov Google Analytics results to an agency site or subsite, such as Oregon.gov/DAS, and specifically how to narrow results for host header sites, such as DFR.Oregon.gov. As long as the Oregon.gov analytics snippet is present on the site and being actively counted as part of the Oregon.gov analytics results. We'll also look at how to apply segments to your session in Google Analytics and see the primary difference between metrics in views and segments. What's a segment? In Google Analytics, there are several ways to look at site metrics in the Oregon.gov account. Sometimes we need to narrow the results down to a specific agency or even a subsite of an agency. This is now done with segments instead of views. Segments are filters or groups of filters that can be built by you, an account holder, and that remain available to you session after session. Segments are in some ways better than views because they allow you to see the historical metrics even prior to the time the segment was made. Views are limited to the time the view was created and later. When you log out, any segment you've built is removed from your view, but when you log back in, you can simply reapply the segment that was previously built, and all the same historical and up-to-date information will be available to you again. The segment does not have to be rebuilt every time you log in. It remains in a menu for you. Segments can be shared, but at times the shared segment is not reliable. If that occurs, a segment built by two users with the same parameters should give identical metrics given the same variables such as date range and report type choice. In order to begin using segments in Google Analytics, you'll first need to log into Google Analytics and access the Oregon.gov Analytics account. View access to the Oregon.gov Analytics is granted by the Oregon eGov Service Desk. So if you don't have access, please initiate a ticket with them to make the request and receive instructions. Open a view of the site. Usually, this will be either Oregon.gov or Oregon.gov forced lowercase. Other views you are accustomed to seeing may be deprecated in favor of the use of segments. To create a segment that will filter for a specific agency's pages under the pattern Oregon.gov/DAS or Oregon.gov/ODVA, first click Add Segment. Then click New Segment. You'll first want to name your new segment, probably something like your agency acronym or the name of your agency if it's short enough. On the left side, choose Conditions. Then set the parameters of the filter so that sessions include page that begin with /ODVA/ or your agency acronym with the slashes that appear in the URLs like /DAS/ or /ODVA/. Once you are finished setting your filters, save the segment, and Google Analytics will automatically replace the All Users segment, which is the default segment for Google Analytics, with the new segment that you just built. That segment will remain in place until you end this session in Google Analytics or look at a report which does not use segmenting for its results. There are a few sites under Oregon.gov that are host header sites whose URLs look like dfr.oregon.gov or osha.oregon.gov. These kinds of sites would not filter on a standard agency page segment filter because of the arrangement of the URL. In these cases, the segment is configured just a bit differently. To build a segment that will filter on a host header site, click Add Segment, New Segment. Name your segment right away, something you'll recognize. On the left-hand side here, choose Conditions. Set your filter so that sessions include host names that contain DFR, or whatever it is the letters.oregon.gov your host name is. Save the segment, and right away the new segment will take the place of the all users segment that is usually here by default. This segment will persist until you hit a report type that doesn't use segmenting for its results, or until your session with Google Analytics ends. As a default, Google Analytics includes the All Users segment unless you choose a different segment to have your metrics filtered by. When you want to use a segment that you've already built but have left the session so it was unapplied from your view, just click the Add Segment button. Then, instead of using New Segment, just choose from the list of segments that you have in your catalog. This would be different for every person, and you will only see those segments that you've built or that have been specifically shared with you and you saved. When I click on a segment, it will be added to the segment queue above. I click Apply, and now we have the All Users and the DFR segment applied. You can see the difference between the smaller segment and the larger one is so great that the smaller segment line looks almost flat. I can make that line more dramatic by removing the All Users segment from the view and relying only on the DFR content to send me metrics.